In the related news, Dr. Anthony Fauci said it's crucial that we stick to the two-dose regimen, even though a new study out of Israel showed that just a single dose of Pfizer's mRNA coronavirus vaccine was shown to be 85% effective. Let's watch.
If you're referring to the mRNA vaccine, you're probably referring to a recent Israeli study that looked at the mRNA, because the extension of the time in a single dose with AZ has also been discussed. But let me refer and just answer directly your question with the mRNA. We always look at data very carefully and very seriously, and we evaluate it as it evolves. But if you look at the data from the particular study and then go back and look at why we wound up with a prime and a boost, and for Moderna, as you know, that's 28 days, and for Pfizer, it's 21 days. And the reason is, even though you can get a fair degree of, quote, protection after a single dose, it clearly is not durable. We know that. The durability is not as much as the durability that you would get with the boost. Secondly, if you look at the difference between the degree, the intensity of the response after a first dose, and compare it to that of the second dose, the second dose is 10 times higher in the sense of level of neutralizing antibodies, which is one of the parameters of immunity. So again, although the numbers of a single dose do look interesting, the one thing we don't know is how durable it is. And since it's 10 times less than the optimal dose that you would get, you have to look at it from two standpoints. You remember we discussed on one of these press briefings before that the reason why you look clinically and see that despite the fact that there is a maybe 5 to 6-fold diminution in the impact of the antibodies that are induced by the mRNA candidates, it still is within the range of protection. The reason for that is that the response following the boost was so high that even though you diminished the efficacy down to about 50%, you still had rather good efficacy against severe disease. So it's a variant issue to protect against variant. The other issue that we need to take into consideration is if you do have a less than optimal, even though with numbers they look reasonably good, but not as good as the optimal response, what could happen theoretically is that because of the immunological pressure that you see on the virus, you might actually theoretically be inducing more variants. So there are a few scientific reasons why we feel, given the information we have right now, we will stick with the scientifically documented efficacy and optimal response of a prime followed by a boost with the mRNA.
Dr. Anthony Fauci says elementary students won't get vaccinated until early 2022 after high schoolers in the fall. Watch this.
Ethics is the trial. Similar types of approaches are being taken by the other candidates, the other companies, namely J&J, Novavax, and AZ. So the bottom line of all of this is as follows. It is highly likely that sometime in the fall, we will have data that will give us the capability of saying the safety and comparable efficacy in children 12 to 17, 18 years old. Again, the final decisions we always leave to the FDA. I'm trying to give you a roadmap of what likely will happen. But then also, with the studies that I just mentioned, to getting the information to make the decision in elementary school children almost certainly will not be firmed down until the first quarter of 2022.